Welcome to PowerUp podcast, the podcast that seeks to empower and dismantle, giving us the power and confidence to question, deconstruct, rebuild, and expand in life. I'm your host, Amma Rouge, voiceover and multidisciplinary artist, wellbeing advocate, food and book geek with over 14 years of movement-centered experience.
I am your host, Ella Mesmer, artist, choreographer, yogi and coach with a passion for alchemy, creativity, transformation and workplace wellness.
We recognise that we can't dismantle and empower or be empowered without first learning ourselves, diving deeper to unlearn the harmful, restrictive and unprogressive. It's an ongoing practice and journey for us all, which is why we created this podcast.
Our show features guests doing the work to enlighten, deconstruct and power up in their own magical ways.
We're going to be having conversations around the power of healing, transformation, well-being and creativity, and how they feed our personal and collective evolution, how they help us power up.
Today we are talking creativity as a tool for revolution with the amazing human being who, in my eyes, is truly living the dream, has achieved so many things, has created so much magic in this world, and is bringing joy to so many people's lives. We have Dr. Hannabiell Sanders in the house. Welcome.
Hello. So happy to be here with you too.
Dr. Hannabiell Sanders is a bass trombonist, African and Latin hand percussionist, composer, producer, and activist. Pronouns she, her, she is a charismatic performer and teacher who is committed to using her music and knowledge to service social justice, to break stereotypes, and bring diverse communities together. Can we take a moment for that, please?
Just delicious.
Right. Hannabiell is also the artistic director of the social enterprise Harambee Pasadia, which creates, it has to be said like that. Like if you know, those that have been, you know, and those that haven't been, you need to put this in your diary. 2024 in Barnard Castle, which I still can only say with a Bristol accent. It is the best festival happening in the UK, and I'm not joking. Anyway, Harambee Pasadia creates, organises and manages festivals and events that focus on community building, arts from the African diaspora and intergenerational collaborations with artists and organisations all over the world. Hannabiell is also the musical director for the Ladies of Midnight Blue and the Hannabiell and the Midnight Blue Collective. And again, like every time I see them, there is joy. There is so much talent in the space. Like I'm just immensely proud of all that you do. And welcome, big ups. Thank you for joining us on Power Up.
Oh, thank you for having me. Oh.
I want to start with this lovely descriptor that you gifted us, Hannabiell, to describe yourself in one line or one sentence. And you said you would describe yourself as a musician, educator, activist, entrepreneur, and an ambassador of fun. And I loved the last words there, ambassador of fun. I was like, yes! Because when you read everything else before, you can be caught up in like, okay, super creative, super honed skills, super serious, super formal, and then at the end comes ambassador of fun, which I just love because a lot of people would think you can't have all of those incredible ways of being alongside fun. And this is the first time I'm meeting Hannabiell. Ella and Hannabiell have a long history. And that's one thing I've already received from you, is that you have this incredibly fun, alive personality, which I absolutely love. And I imagine very much that this goes into the art you make and how you express yourself through that art. And I also wanted to know, is the art you make related to your political or social views?
Yeah, definitely. I would say that enthusiasm and whimsy really drive me. and drive all of my work.
Could you just define whimsy?
Just being extra, just like magical, and just adding good vibrations to things, and you know. So my work, my music, my events, everything I do, try to do it in service to social justice. When I ended up doing my studying for my PhD at Newcastle University, I thought it was going to take one turn around, just going down a route of performing and improvising and just, honing those skills. But it ended up being more of like a critical thinking, reflexive exercise on like situating myself in a larger context of music and like who I am, and actually had an opportunity to learn about my own culture in America and some of the things that have held our communities back. Because it's always easier to see, or folks like to look at other people's lives. So when I moved to England at the university I was studying at, they were, doing some classes in hip hop and doing some classes in, jazz. So I was able to take some of those theoretical courses. They weren't practical; they were theoretical, and that really introduced me to a lot of really cool stuff, and Mary Baraka and Bell Hooks and all these things. And I wasn't learning about those thinkers, or, when I studied in America through music. So here it was just really interesting.
Yeah.
So during that exercise of that, doing that degree, I ended up writing my dissertation on protest culture as creative practice as socio-political engagement. So in a nutshell, how do I use my music, my art, my culture, my event, everything in service to social justice? How do I do that in a nutshell? And also like understanding myself through a Black feminist perspective, or not even necessarily identifying myself as that prior to, but like, oh, these things tick on, and it's just so, yeah, it's been really interesting. I would say the thing that really politicized me was Hurricane Katrina, and that event, and joining POP, People's Organization for Progress, way back in the day when my big sister and mentor Vicky White, when she was still with us on the earth, and Larry Ham together, they kind of helped to politicize us, and realizing that what happened there in New Orleans could have happened anywhere in America. And to our school, Rutgers University, and they were just like, "What are you all doing?" Like, now that the media stopped talking about it, like it's still happening. And what if that happened in our state? Don't we want to go and help? And then it was like, oh my gosh, yeah. So then from there, I helped to organize a benefit concerts. First time I ever did that. And what ended up going down to New Orleans with Pop and helping to clean up and just provide some joy and some whimsy, and also to learn and see, bear witness. I also ended up moving to South Africa in, was it 2008, I think, for a
Did not
year.
know that part of your journey.
And that was also a trip that was supported by my new activist family within Pop. And I went there for a year and studied at the University of KwaZulu Natal. And it was really an eye-opening experience. And I actually moved there because I graduated. Actually, I went to Norfolk State University for 3 years, and then I ended up transferring uh, back home to Rutgers University.
Where is that for non-knowing folks? Where is Rutgers University?
So Norfolk State University is a historically Black college university in Virginia, Norfolk, Virginia, right? And then Rutgers University is in New Jersey. So that's actually where I grew up. But I didn't know, growing up, I was too young to know about all of that university life.
Of course.
So yes, I went to school at historically Black college, which was amazing. And actually, I think being growing up in the American education system, well, I would say not American, because it's not like all states, the education is different. But in our state, University, we actually had a really good arts and culture program in schools and drama and all of those things. And so I had access to instrument, and I was band. So I was always in band, and I think American schools, I feel like when you're in those kind of extra, or when you're in like band or a team sport or something like that, like you really learn how to become like a cheerleader and a champion and a mascot for things you believe in. So like
So
even every
true.
day in my life, if there's something that I believe in, I just get behind it. I just take that school spirit and just get, so, and it was definitely at Norfolk State University that introduced me to the idea and the concept and the word and the drilling of enthusiasm into everything you did.
Mm.
So being a part of that marching band was like a really it was an intense experience about learning how to work as as a community. It was I had those experiences, in high school and band, but it was a different kind of quality of experience working with other, it was just African Americans everywhere. It was amazing. So that was a real, and so here I and then Newcastle University. I did my master's and my PhD there, and then it became, more like, now let's do this academic exercise. Let's like hone in and strengthen these things. I didn't walk into it knowing that I would come out of it like this. Yeah.
Amazing.
And you do like you've kind of there's been this strand of teaching throughout, right? Like you were teaching there, like I believe you're teaching at the university now. Like there's definitely this element of always giving back.
Yeah, I like to create projects, and I like to play with energies on stage and off stage, and I like to collaborate and create things with people, whether that's, a performance or in a workshop, or and just get people to just connect. And I'll like at the university, I teach on a module semester, and that module might change depending on what the professor is going to do. And I'll teach the seminars for that module, and I'll teach like one of the lectures. And I just really, at the moment, I'm so excited about reaping the benefits of all of this schooling and all of the time and effort and energy that we put into anything and everything. And I don't, at the moment, I'm not excited to get into something to put all of my energy and efforts to one thing. And I
Mm.
like doing many things, and I wear various hats. So I'm not, stuck into the institution or the academy, full time. So I like my light touch role.
I think that's so refreshing to hear because so many people are like, you need to just focus on one thing and it's all too much distraction. But actually, I feel like this is part of your magic is because there's these overlaps and these beautiful, like, you bring people into your different worlds and experiences and that creates a real sense of wholeness. And and I believe that something that I've witnessed you doing is you help people believe that they are possible, and you help people, which is funny because it's a theme, it's a title of one of the PowerUp podcast episodes. But you really do inspire people to go. I can do what I love. I can go for my dreams, and anything is possible. And these beliefs that we are so often taught by society, by family, by experiences, actually all of that can, we can blast through the ceilings of all of those beliefs and we can go for it.
Wow. I love the way you say it. I think that sometimes, I think many of us, but speaking for myself, I think that now that I've been becoming more aware of myself and things and how things work or different laws, um, I think that I really enjoy, no, I think I really enjoy hearing things back and
Mm,
having articulated it in a different way.
Mm.
mm,
I think that for me, protest culture is how we choose to live our everyday lives. It can be in the streets with a sign. It can be holding the door open for someone, picking some groceries up for someone else.
Mm-hmm.
When you were just like going on this little bit of a, it's not a rant, but I don't have a better word at the
You can
moment.
call it a rant. I'm
just
okay
a
with that.
just a few seconds ago about what, like bringing joy. I was like, yeah, that's the point. That's protest culture.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
bringing
I
joy.
agree.
Like, so I, when I was working with pop, or just what I did was we would, Gillies and I, actually my partner, we would go and to these protests, and they would just say, well, just bring your drums. We're like, okay. So we did it. And that was the first time I realized that I could actually make a change. I could not make a change, but I could add to a collective of making a change. And it was
Mm.
by bringing our drums to these protests. So I didn't have to organize this or that. Like it was something that I could do, that was achievable and tangible. And I think that I've been developing. I know I've been developing. I don't think I was aware of it, but I've been developing these ideas around redefining like protest and what people, if they call themselves activists. I'm just like, well, like, let's not get rid of the word. Let's just like redefine it and like get rid of some of this baggage. And like, protest is us right now, like trying to do whatever you want to do that brings you joy or someone else joy. Even self-reflection now I'm really like, it's social and emotional intelligence, like that's really for me right now. I'm like hardcore fighting for that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Just trying to really like work on myself so I can be a change for good, or even to myself or my family, so like protest starts home. I didn't know that before. You hear it, but like to really know it and to actively work
To
on it.
know something in an embodied sense is really different from just
Yes.
recognizing the words or having a cerebral understanding, right?
Mm. I would love to ask you a bit about your tour, because
Yeah.
Hannabiell and the Midnight Blue Collective and your duet Ladies of Midnight Blue are putting together a tour, right? And I would love
Yes.
to hear about that, where you'll be touring,
Yay.
what's the plans?
So really exciting times. The Ladies of Midnight Blue have been, holding it down, holding everything down realistically. The band, the festival, our lives. So our gigs as Ladies of Midnight Blue have been supporting us through this whole ride, which has been fantastic. And but we, over the last year, we really wanted to, this band has had so many iterations. Hannabiell Midnight Blue, I started the band ages ago. And I mean, there even because I was a classical trombonist, a classical bass trombonist. And I just was longing to learn how to improvise, and I was just longing for jazz, and I was just longing for black music, and I was just longing for it. But I had already set this course, and I couldn't like stop it, because I was like, oh, I'm not gonna be good enough to like start. So I was just like, oh, I'll just stick here. And so I always had this like desire, this longing. So the band has had many iterations. So it was always this question to try to improvise. So it started out with just a couple of us classical musicians, a couple of my friends, just us coming and like harmonizing, playing one note, one scale, like trying to figure it out in that way. Uh, so there's so there's been like a didgeridoo and trombone, trumpet, trombone, flute, and bass. There's all kinds of different combinations over the years. I had a version in South Africa when I was there. It's just so, there's band members all over the world. So not
It's
all over the
so
world, but
cool.
in many different places. One day
Yes.
I want to get everybody together. It'll be crazy big. It'll be ridiculous, but
Epic.
it'll be done one day. So since this January, we actually have like a new lineup, and it's really came together with all the right ingredients, and I feel like this particular lineup is how is closest to where we want to be. Um,
Mm.
people's times, things is just aligned. everybody who's been a part of the ensemble has helped to make my dreams come true, and hopefully they've also been able to grow and gain from that experience of our family, our musical family being together. And so right now we have this iteration of ourselves, and we've been getting some support. We had a residency at the Sage, and then we went to Snape Maltings and had a residency. And this year is the first time we're in like the big festival circuit. So
Whoop, whoop.
be playing, the band will be playing, well, actually we're playing this month for Unity Festival, and then we're in April we're going to be playing at a new festival that I've never heard of before, and in a new place in Falmouth. It's called Wonderful Festival. We're also playing at Secret Garden Party, Kendall Calling, Green Man Festival. We'll be playing for the Aldborough Carnival. That's near Ipswich, St. Malt. It's near that area. And we'll be leading a group of 60 to 80 young people through the parade, playing our music, through the streets of Aldborough for their carnival.
Gorgeous.
And then I think we'll be at Freedom Festival in Hull and the Generator Festival in Newcastle.
And did you say Shambhala as well?
Yes, Shambhala as well. And for those festivals, for Secret Garden Party, Kendall Calling, Green Man, and Shambhala, we'll be playing on the Chaiwala stage.
Oh, I need to get myself to at least one of these. Every year I'm like, I'm going to all the festivals I can that I want to go to. Every year I go to 0. Right, this year, well, last year, last year I went to 1, which is great, so it's a start. So this year 2. So yes. Definitely want to get there.
And next year, Harambee Pasadia.
Yes, and all the links will be in the show notes, as many of those links as we can include in there. So if you do want to get booking and you want to go and support and you want to go and delicious in the amazing sounds of Hannabiell and her bands, then you can.
Hannabiell, do you have any final words to leave the listener with?
Find a time to look in the mirror into your own eyes and just look at yourself for a few seconds, or maybe a little longer than a few seconds, and just say, I love you. I love me. I love you. I love me. And just walk and smile afterwards, and then that's it.
Thank you for listening. You can connect to us and our guests via the links in each episode's show notes. Before you go, we invite you to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of the goodness to come. And if you enjoyed today, perhaps tell a friend to tell a friend. We are always grateful for you, our listeners, for our fabulous guests, and to everyone who has contributed to and been a part of our journey here.
Our music is by Tomo Carter. Everything else is brought to you by us, the PowerUp Power Team.
I'm Ella Mesmer.
I am Amma Rouge. And we are PowerUp Podcast.